we're making lasagna, and the calories for today are 750 calories per portion, 52 grams of proteins, 55 grams of carbs, and 35 grams of fat. And as usual, you can change the portion size and the calories and the macros will follow. And you can also change the amount of ingredients, so if you want to use 1400 grams of ground beef instead, the macros should follow as well. We're gonna start off making our own pasta dough. If you don't want to do that, you can skip ahead, there's timestamps in the description. And we're gonna use 200 grams of durum wheat for making our pasta dough. And we're gonna do the usual method of just creating a well and adding our eggs. And then using a fork to mix that in. And since we're not gonna boil this pasta, you should add some salt to it as well. And then we're simply gonna just mix in our pasta dough first with a fork, and when you mixed in enough flour with a fork, we can switch to our dough scraper to do the rest. And then we're just gonna start kneading the dough. If you feel that your dough doesn't come together, if it's too dry, you can always rinse your hands under some water and knead with slightly wet hands, and that should solve it. Or you can, if it's too wet, just add a bit more flour. Usually you don't need to adjust much. After that, we're gonna knead our dough, and once we've done that, we are simply gonna wrap it in plastic foil and leave it on the counter in the fridge. For our sauce, we're gonna use 1 kilogram of ground beef with 12% fat, and you can absolutely fry this in stainless steel pan, and then you can use the vegetables and the liquid later onto the glazed pan. I'm gonna do this in a non-stick pan because I feel that that's good enough. While our meat is frying away, we're gonna chop 1 onion and 2 celery stalks. Going to prepare and peel 5 cloves of garlic. Since we're frying a lot of meat, or since I'm frying a lot of meat, at the same time we're going to have a lot of liquid, and what we want to do is that we want to reduce that liquid so almost all of it has disappeared. I'd like to start off by adding 2 teaspoons of salt. I think that's a good base point. We're going to add more salt later on, but if you use 2 teaspoons, you know you have a good foundation. Then we're going to add some pepper. And now we see that almost all the liquid has disappeared. You can keep frying your meat here and it will probably get some of that mild reaction. But when you feel that your meat is done, we're going to add the vegetables. And when they have softened up and been frying for a couple of minutes and are soft, we're going to add our garlic and fry that for a couple of minutes as well. This is not going to be the traditional lasagna, it's going to be a Swedish version of Bolognese, meaning that we're gonna make this with milk. So first of all, we're gonna add 170 grams of tomato puree, and we're gonna fry that for a couple of minutes, and after that we're gonna add 6 deciliters of milk. And then to that we're gonna add 2 bouillon cubes, and then we're gonna season this, and we're gonna use oregano, thyme, chili flakes, onion powder, garlic powder, and some more salt and pepper. And all we need to do after that is to reduce it, and since we're using this in a lasagna, we're gonna want it fairly dry, so we're gonna need to reduce it by quite a lot. But that's basically our sauce. So when you feel that it's dry enough, which for me is around here, Then all we need to do is take it off the heat and leave it for later. And then we're gonna start with our bechamel sauce. For that we're gonna need 70 grams of butter, 70 grams of flour, which we're going to fry for a couple of minutes as well. And we don't need to be worried about any lumps or anything. If we melt the butter, then add the flour and fry it for a couple of minutes, then it's fine. All we need to do is add some cold milk, which we're gonna use 1 liter of, and you don't have to worry about any lumps. Just pour in all the milk, just stir, and all the lumps and everything will disappear. To this we're gonna add some more salt, we're gonna add some pepper and also a little bit of nutmeg. And after that, all we need to do is to reduce this. I feel that the bechamel sauce has a good consistency when you can see trails from your whisks. So if you pull it, you can see lines in it. Then it's usually at a good point and ready to be used, which is here. So all we need to do now is take this off the heat and add some plastic wrap to it, because if we don't, we're gonna develop a skin that's not gonna be very nice. So as soon as you're at the consistency that you want, just put some plastic wrap on it. All we need to do now is finish our pasta dough. And I'm using the KitchenAid pasta attachment here, and for lasagna I think that thickness 5 is good. I think that gives you the best thickness for lasagna, and also you will have enough pasta for 2 pasta layers with 200 grams of flour. So we're at assembly. I like to start off with some bechamel sauce at the bottom, then add some of our sauce, and then the pasta, and then simply repeat. One thing I like to do when you make your own pasta, it's super easy to fit it to a pan. Just take a pizza cutter and align it with the pasta, and you can simply just cut as big a piece as you need. Then we're going to do another layer of bechamel. There's going to be 3 layers of bechamel and 3 layers of our Bolognese as well. And for the last layer, I like to do the Bolognese first, and then we're gonna finish this off with our final bechamel sauce. And I know that people like to add cheese on top of the lasagna, but I'm not going to, since that's gonna add more calories to an already quite high calorie dish. So 200 degrees, roughly 40 minutes to an hour. My wife got delayed at work, so I had to drop the heat from the oven and leave this in for much longer than I wanted to, so this is gonna look very dry. But if you don't keep it in the oven for an hour more than you wanted, then that's not going to be a problem. And that's it. I really like this. I hope you try it. It's one of my kids' favorites as well, so I hope you try it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.